Baby, baby, blah, blah, blah. Written and read by Jonathan Shipton. Emily loved to make lists. She made lists of things she didn't like. She made lists of things she loved. And sometimes she made lists of worries. One day Emily's mum and dad said, "Guess what? We're going to have a baby." "Oh," said Emily, "that's nice." And she carried on playing with her guinea pig. That night, Emily said, "You know this baby, is it going to be a brother or a sister?" "It's going to be a surprise," said Emily's dad. "I'd like a sister baby," said Emily. Emily's mum patted her round baby bump. "We'll just have to wait and see, won't we?" Well, the baby bump grew, and a little worry started to grow in Emily's mind. And the bigger the baby bump grew, the bigger Emily's worry grew. One day the bump was so huge that Emily couldn't even fit on her mum's lap. "That's it," she shouted. "I've had enough." And she zoomed off. A bit later, Emily came into the kitchen. "Guess what I've been doing," she said. "Have you been making a list?" suggested Emily's dad. "Yes, I have," admitted Emily. "Is it anything to do with babies?" "Yes, it is," said Emily. "Good," said Emily's dad. "It's not that good," warned Emily. She settled the guinea pig on her lap and began to read. A baby is good because it is really tiny, its head is soft and snuffly, you can play pat-a-cake. When it is grown a bit, you can feed it all kinds of squish. You can take it out for rides in the buggy. You can swoosh it through puddles. You can tickle it to bits. "Well done," said Emily's mum. "Positive thinking," agreed Emily's dad. "Yes, but," continued Emily darkly, "you haven't heard the other bit. A baby doesn't do anything except suck, dribble, spit up and cry. It cries if it's hungry, it cries if it's thirsty, it cries if it's tired, it cries if it's hot, it cries if it wants to do a poo." "But that's not the worst thing," said Emily. "When the baby comes, everyone will come rushing round and it'll be baby this and baby that and baby goo goo and baby blah blah blah. And I will have to eat leftover squish and go to school in a baby grow and mittens. Everything will be upside down and inside out because that's the way it is when a baby comes into your house." "Oh dear," sighed Emily's mum, "that sounds awful." "But it's not going to be like that," said Emily's dad. "Come and sit on my lap and I will tell you a story about a baby." "See," said Emily triumphantly, "it's already started. Baby, baby, blah, blah, blah." "No," interrupted Emily's dad. "This story is about you. May I begin?" Emily nodded. "A long time ago there was just Mum and me. We did all kinds of stuff together, walking, dancing, climbing up mountains. We were so happy I couldn't imagine it being any better. But then guess what happened?" "Me?" said Emily. "Yes. But having you didn't stop us doing things. We just took you along too." "Even up mountains?" said Emily suspiciously. Emily's dad smiled. "Well, maybe not up mountains." "But we did go on bike rides together," said Emily's mum. "And now we go skating together," said Emily. "Exactly. It just gets better and better, doesn't it?" said Emily's dad. "Maybe," agreed Emily. "Maybe you could rub a few things off your worry list," suggested Emily's mum. because you won't really have to eat squish or go to school in a baby grown mittens." "That's good," said Emily. "And," continued Emily's mum, "we will always make time for cuddles and laps and stories because we will always love you, no matter what the babies do." "Babies?" said Emily.